on Explorations, the truth about lies.
People miss 50% of the lies that happen in front of them because we look for the wrong symptom.
South Carolina detective Mike Davis has driven 1,200 miles to learn all about lying.
A lie involving an emotion is the hardest lie to pull off successfully if the observer knows what to look for.
Mike's come to hear interview expert and specialist lie catcher Stan Walters.
Okay. What other things would be important to Terry?
Stan's teaching the class how to decode the subtle and often unconscious signals that accompany lies.
People miss 50% of the lies that happen in front of them. Now that's law enforcement, that's judges, that's media, the press, that's teachers, counselors, because number one, we look for the wrong symptoms.
Stan uses taped interviews with federal prisoners to demonstrate these symptoms.
The key things to look for in spotting deception, think of just two basic categories. Think of speech behaviors and think of body language behaviors. Speech behaviors look for phrases such as trust me, believe me, honestly to tell the truth, why would I lie? What else? Oh, it said I don't know twice. Okay, good. Body language happens because there has been a lie. It's the giveaway. There's only so much that we can consciously control. The most common symptoms in body language are aversion. Okay, you see the body go back, which is our aversion behavior. Now, aversion, very common, is a major movement of the person's body away from you at the appropriate time when you ask an important question.
I don't know.
And you see that major movement, the head moving away, or turning of the shoulders or the torso away. What else? Good. And you got this going here. The other common language behavior is a phenomenon that's called negation. Negation is like, in a way, is dropping a curtain over in front of the face so that the observer doesn't see, oh, Stan's not being truthful. This chief of police from L.A. who murdered his mayor, that's still illegal in some places. They asked, when the last time you saw the mayor? Let's see, I think he was in the booth, I think. And all of a sudden, boom, it covers his whole face. The hand in the mouth is negation. We got an aversion. We get the I don't know twice. And what's the topic? Shots to the head. He's telling you he doesn't know. I surveyed 1,000 police officers here in the U.S. in 25 states. And I found in basic training that only 2 out of the 5 officers got any training on interviewing skills. What does a patrol officer do on the street all day long? He interviews victims, he interviews witnesses, he interviews informants and subjects. And we don't give them those skills. And a good 50% of what they're getting in training on interviewing is scientifically incorrect.
Is Scott Peterson lying about his innocence? Did he murder his pregnant wife, Lacey? The lie guy, Stan Walters, teaches interview and interrogation techniques to law enforcement, the military, and government intelligence. And he's the one called in to analyze the gestures and words of suspected killers, kidnappers, and arsonists. This is Diane Sawyer. She did an exclusive interview with Scott Peterson and asked him if he killed his pregnant wife, Lacey. Let's watch.
Did you murder your wife?
No. I did not. And I had absolutely nothing to do with her disappearance. And use the word murder, and yeah, I mean, that is a possibility.
He's talking about the possible murder of his wife, and did you see how he was smiling?
Yeah. Smiling is a common stress behavior, stress reliever that human beings use. It relieves the tension. It's the most recognizable of all human expressions, and it has a way of diffusing the negative or bad message. So it kind of takes the edge off the message. So it's a good stress reaction. Now, just because you're stressed doesn't mean you're being deceptive.
Watch this one. This is when Scott shows some emotion, whether it's forced or real, and he cries when he talks about walking through the park and remembering his wife, Lacey.
So I've been taking the dog down to the park where she walked. It's like our time.
Okay, now what are you noticing about this as he's crying?
The hardest lie to accomplish is an emotional lie. It's very strong.
Because you got the tears going and everything.
The tears are going, but if you've noticed in his face, right around his eyebrows and in the eyes and the mouth, when you're crying and you're upset and pain, what does your mouth tend to do? It tends to go down. And there's the pain in the eyes. What we see in this case, look at his mouth, we see the corners of the mouth going up, and we see smile lines right here in the corner of the eye.
Can we see his smile from the other one and the cry together? Maybe we get a better idea of what you're talking about here.
So split that one. See, look at this. We have the same thing here, the corner of the mouth up, eyes up, and then look in here. There's a little expression I'm going to show you. It's kind of creepy, isn't it? Yeah.
You know what else is interesting is what is missing from the face that you might not notice. And you say it's this grief thing?
This is called the grief muscle. It's the nickname for it. Darwin spotted this over 100 years ago, and it's called the expression of emotion in man and animals.
Let's show a picture of a woman whose grief muscle is very prominent.
It's the grief muscle, and it looks like a little upside-down horseshoe shape. Now, hers is extremely pronounced, very, very high. We don't see it in the spot here with Scott Peterson here. Another phenomenon is when the eyebrows will pull briefly toward each other. Very, very reliable cue of emotional pain. 98% of the population cannot fake that.
So this is something we can't, watching you going, okay, I'm going to fake this grief muscle.
You can't do it. You got to really practice in the mirror hours and hours and hours to do it. So what I'm saying
if he had Botox,
he'd have to have a gallon of it shot in there. Yeah. There's nothing there.
Okay.
So we have a contradiction again. Voice message doesn't match the facial expression. Why is he masking one, hiding the other? So what I'm saying is his emotion is not from depression. There's something else that's heavy stress going on, but not of pain. The problem with deception is that we are thinking one thing and we feel something else strongly, and we don't monitor our body language, and you're picking up some of the cues, and it leaks out his stronger emotion. It doesn't match what he's saying. That doesn't mean he did it. Doesn't mean he's guilty, but he's not being really honest about what he really feels.
So when we're watching this, because this is the kind of thing we could use when we are talking to our friends, when we're talking to our bosses or whatever, we could watch for these signs to see if they're being deceptive. What should we watch for here to notice that he doesn't believe himself?
What do we usually do when you say no?
You go, no. Or you
say no. No. Watch how he says no.
Okay, watch that.
To those of you who may want to ask, let me address very directly, I did not kill my daughter, JonBenét.
Whoa. Did you catch that? What did you see?
He was nodding up and down. He was saying that.
Did you see that?
Nodding up and down. Yeah.
Everybody's going, he's nodding up and down.
Up and down, when it should be no. And then it's surprising, somebody caught the smirk.
Who got the smirk?
He was smirking.
And what do you think that meant, though? I mean, the smirk to me, you could smirk.
He wasn't taking it very seriously. He was just kind of...
There you go.
Yeah, I didn't kill her.
It's this pleasure. You get this little smirk on the side of the face. It's like I'm pleased with my performance.
Like he thinks he's pulling one off on him.
He's doing a good job.
Okay, we're looking at some famous cases and celebrities and all sorts of things. And what we need to think about is that we can use this when we are having everyday contact with people, because people on the average lie about 7 times a day.
I'd hate to be the kid to some of these moms. They're picking this up good. They're doing a good job.
Now, this one is an interesting one. Barbara Walters does those 10 most fascinating people interviews, the shows every year. And I remember very strongly this interview she did with Courtney Love. So when we watch this, now we watch for the head moving. And
the oversells. Yeah, and when you get that, no.
Oh, so if the voice goes too high or
like
too
somebody
low.
Went, and the pitch changed dramatically. Her stress energy level jumped up. So it's a very stressful question for her. So if I was the interviewer, I'd dig some more in that area, which Barbara kept doing.
You were on nothing?
No.
You were on nothing today?
No.
No heroin?
My God.
My God, believe me.
What's this mean?
That's believe me.
Well, so what's wrong with
my
believe
heart.
me? Does that? So maybe she's saying believe me because I'm telling you the truth.
So we don't believe the rest of it?
Oh,
well, I believe this moment now, not the rest of them.
Oh, so this is to emphasize because this is part of the performing.
Yeah, I need you to believe this. You don't believe this, my whole house of cards is going to collapse.
Explain to people what you've done for a living that makes you an expert on detecting lies.
The last 18 years, I've been teaching to law enforcement on criminal justice agencies, correction agencies all over the United States and North America how to spot when there are victims, witnesses, and suspects are not telling the truth about any particular incident that they're investigating.
And people can extrapolate this and put this into everyday practice in real life.
That's what I found. A lot of these things shouldn't be just shared with law enforcement, but what about your kids if they're not telling the truth about the party they're going to, if they borrowed the car over the weekend when they weren't supposed to go someplace, and just how to enrich the relationship, get a little better quality communication between ourselves and our friends and family members.
Now, everybody lies at some point in different ways, everyday little lies. Now, what's your definition of that little lie that really doesn't matter?
Those just kind of keep society together. That's where we don't want to hurt feelings. How do you like this dress? Now that's a dress. We just don't want to quite tell them that that one looked better on Soapy Sales when he was out. We don't want to hurt the person's feelings. Those we just kind of keep together. The ones that we worry about are the ones where the person does for his own gain, or his own aggrandizement, or to harm the other person. That's the ones we're concerned about.
And where do pathological liars fit into this scheme?
Pathological liars are the ultimate users. They ultimately abuse everyone. They have no empathy for their condition. They have no concern about how they're going to feel, and it's purely just for what they want to gain, purely ego-driven. And they have no guilt or emotion about the fact they are deceiving or using someone.
Are they more difficult to detect than people who are just lying off the cuff?
They give the same signals, but the advantage, I guess you say, to a pathological liar is they're typically very outgoing. They're very friendly, they're very engaging, and we wind up overlooking the symptoms that they are generating for us. We dismiss them because they're so nice.
Well, in your books, one of the most important pieces of information is that a lot of the things we're told about liars are really fallacies. You're saying that the whole eye contact thing, not
It's
true.
not very good. We miss about 50% of the lies that happen in front of us. People are generally very bad at it. We look for the wrong symptoms, like you said, eye contact, or he's fidgeting a lot, or he's or a lot. Well, if that was the case, we'd all be guilty of something. Just because you're nervous doesn't mean the boss's body's in the car, in the parking lot, you know, in the trunk of your car. It's just a case of nerves. So we have to learn to dissort between reliable symptoms and those that are just signs of nervousness.
And which are more reliable, the verbal cues or the nonverbal cues?
About an equal amount.
Really?
There's just fewer of verbal cues. They don't happen as often. When they happen, they're usually very, very valuable because people monitor their speech. They very carefully listen and pay attention to what they're saying. Body language they don't pay attention to, which has good news and bad news. If you don't monitor it, there's lots and lots of it. The bad news is there's lots and lots of it. It's hard to pick out what's just stress and what's a lie sign.
Should you ever confront a liar?
It depends on how you want to handle the lie. If you want to play one-upmanship, if you want to play gotcha games and get in the truth, you're not going to keep very many friends. You can do it with compassion, you can do it with sincerity and with concern. Say, look, I think we can work this out. I think there's more details we need here to straighten out this difference between us. But you don't have to destroy the person to do it.
All right, Stan Walters, good information this morning.
Thank you, Allison.
Thanks for joining us.
My pleasure.